Hi everybody, how are you? This is Mike Andrew, once again providing a short video with practical insights as it applies to business and leadership. I'd like to build off a message I've given in the past around maximizing your chances of achieving career success and managing your career. And it all starts really with the interview. Much of what I've done in the past is advising people about their careers and how to achieve career success, and also how to interview, for if you really want that job. So I've conducted many interviews over the years with different companies. So I'd like to give some tips on what not to do and what some things you should do. So that's the perspective I bring. So let me start with number one. If you're going on an interview and you really want that job, please come prepared with questions. There's nothing better, there's nothing I love more than when someone establishes their professional or executive presence, no matter what level you are, and they come prepared with questions about the business, the industry, the company, the organization, whatever. But number two, not only come prepared with questions, but listen to the conversation you're having with the person that's interviewing you, because you'd be amazed and surprised at how many questions you'll come up with by listening. I always say that if you want to establish your executive presence, learn how to ask questions with confidence. And how do you do that, Mike? Well, listen to what's being said, because when you listen carefully, you'll be amazed at how many questions you can come up with to probe, to clarify, and so forth. I remember I had in a previous company, they used to bring me in to interview executives at the vice president level or above when they were coming in from the outside. And I was shocked and amazed at how many people were planning on moving to a different country, to a new company, bringing their family, a new job, a new organization, new management, and a team of people they're going to be managing. And I'd be asking questions and they'd be answering my questions as if I was interviewing someone to work at a coffee shop. And they would answer my questions. And I'd be waiting for them to engage me in a conversation to ask me questions. And it wasn't happening. Then at the end, I'd say, what questions you had for me? And it amazed me how many people would say, no, I think we covered it all. X, no way can I hire an executive if they're going to plan a life change, moving to a new country, new company with their family and everything else, and they don't have any questions. Forget it. Done deal. So be prepared with questions. Secondly, here's an interesting one. Come to the interview. You should have a little bit of knowledge about the company and the role. Come to the interview with some initial plans and run these plans by the interviewer about what you could do, what you'd like to do for the first 30 days or 60 days to establish your presence in the organization, to start contributing and adding value quickly, to start building the important key stakeholder relationships, and what you can do to get some quick wins. Can you imagine coming with some initial ideas on a 30 to 60 day plan? No one does it. And if you can do that, I think you will distinguish yourself. Next, oftentimes I'll ask people about their leadership. What do they do that distinguishes themselves as a manager or a leader? Or when I look at some of their achievements, what did you do? And so many times people fall into the pattern of, well, a leader should, and a leader should do this, and a leader should that. I stop them immediately, because it's like they're reading from Google. We can do Google and learn what leaders should do. We can read a book, what leaders should do. I want to know, what did you do? Give me an example of how you achieved how you accomplished that initiative. Give me an example of what you do to distinguish yourself. What do you do? How do you do it? Not what you should do as a leader. That doesn't work. And a good interviewer should stop you from the should and get into what did. That's called behavioral. And the next thing I would do is this. Oftentimes, I'll ask people, no matter what level they are, particularly when they're younger, what their career goal is, what their ambition is. And so many people, I think they're trying to give the right answer, but they'll say to me, I want to be a CEO. Wrong answer for me. If you're working for a company, 20,000 people and one CEO, why you? And I'll ask that question, why do you want to be a CEO? Because what I find is Most people, when they give that answer, they haven't thought it through. They haven't thought through why they want to be a CEO. And I push and I push, and oftentimes they can't answer because there's incredible trade-offs to be a CEO. You've got to really understand what that entails to be a CEO. So be very careful in answering the question, I want to be a CEO, because I tell people that answer doesn't work for me. And so I'm gonna give you a hard time with this. I'm gonna probe and probe and probe. And what I find is they haven't thought about it. And maybe it's an ego thing. I said to one guy once, is this an ego thing or is this, well, yeah, maybe it's an ego thing. Well, you know, don't say you want to be a CEO unless you've thought it through and you can give a real substantive case for why you'd like to be a CEO. Those are my tips for today, especially around when you're interviewing for a new role inside the company or into a new company as it applies to managing your career and maximizing your chances of getting that job for career success. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.